we have Muslims who, mashallah, they give respect to the Quran. And we should respect the Quran, there's no doubt about it. But many of us, we fail to understand the reason why the Quran was revealed. And as I was saying, we have Khatni Quran, Quran Khani. I would like to give an example. That there was a person, there's an Indian, who goes to France to get a bachelor's degree. But when he goes to France, the language of instruction was French. And this Indian, he did not know French. So he used to attend the classes religiously, regularly. Whenever he used to attend, he used to get a P. P is for present. Full year he attends the class. But the instruction in French, he doesn't understand it. After 1 year, he appears for the examination. The question paper is in French. But yet he gets a P. P is not for past, P is for present. But just by being present, do you think he will pass in the examination? He does not understand a word. Maybe because he knows English, like how many of us we know Urdu script, so we can recite the Quran. So he can read some of the French without understanding, because the script of English and French is the same. Do you think he'll pass in the examination? He gets a P. The P is for present, it is not for past. So that's the reason it's very important that we read the Quran with understanding. As I was mentioning, that we Muslims, we give respect to the Quran, alhamdulillah. But many of us, they go beyond the limit. They give so much respect that they forget for what purpose the Quran was revealed. You know, we keep the Quran on the topmost shelf. Alhamdulillah. They keep it so much on top that it's difficult to reach. And the Quran catches dust. You know, the Quran is a book of guide. It's a guidebook. You know, suppose if you are studying, the guidebook is normally at a shelf which is reachable. You know, it's kept at a shelf which you can reach the easiest. You won't keep it on top, very difficult, you take a stool to get it down. So Quran is a book which should be referred every day. It should be handy. And many of us Muslims, you know, we tie the Quran in a pure silk cloth. And then we tie a knot on it. Suppose if you want to read the Quran, you start thinking, okay, 5 minutes to open the Quran. 5 minutes again to tie the Quran, 10 minutes. The thought of you opening the Quran and again tying it will be a deterrent. And if you have 10 minutes, 10 minutes abhi kholne mein aur bandhne mein jayenge. If you have 10 minutes time, you know, to open the Quran, close 10 minutes, so better not read the Quran. See, we have to respect the Quran, but the main respect is in the heart. I am not against keeping the Quran on top, don't get me wrong. But see to it that it is accessible. It's easily available for guidance. You know, many of us Muslims, before touching the Quran, we scrutinize 1,000 things as though it's an RDX bomb. Quran, wearing shoes, can I touch the Quran? Can I read the Quran while standing? Can I read it in the office? All these things, they prevent you from reading the Quran. We scrutinize the Quran as though it's an RDX bomb going to explode. The Quran is a book of guidance. So that's the reason many of us Indians object to, you know, the Arabs, mashallah, the way they treat the Quran, they give respect. But as though it's a guide, it's available. We Muslims keep it on topmost shelf. You know, in India, it's catching dust. And rarely will we find people, when they have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, they refer to the Quran. Because there is, you know, we have to have that frame of mind, and then we have to see 10 things. We can't be in shoes, we can't stand, and we have to have a hat over your head, etc., etc. See, many things are good, but don't make life so difficult that the main purpose of the Quran is for guidance is defeated. And very often if you go to the Gulf countries, You know, many of the Arabs, when they come for Salah a few minutes before, you find them taking the Quran and reading. In India, rarely will you find that. And suppose someone is reading in the first row, and someone takes the Quran and reads in the second row, there will be a person who will object. How can you read the Quran in the second row? The back is facing the Quran. Haram. Khalas. And if you have to sit in the mosque, and suppose at your home or in the mosque, if by mistake if you happen to read the Quran while facing Qibla, khalas, you will get fatwa, haram. You know, you can't read the Quran with your back facing the Qibla, back facing the Kaaba. I've been to Haram several times in Makkah. Several times, you know. They have this Talimul Quran, they have these Hifz classes, you know. And the students sit in rows. Many of the back face the Quran of the other student who's carrying a Quran in the hand. And many a time the teacher is facing the Kaaba and the students back are facing the Kaaba. So where do they get this from? Which verse of the Quran, which hadith, I don't know. So we have to love the Quran, we have to respect, but we have to know that the main reason the Quran was revealed was for hidayah, was for guidance.